Hello everyone, I'm here with the guy from Takara, Neal and Bjorn. And we're going to talk about the band and what's going on with them. Neal, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
What about you, Bjorn?
Doing great.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for the interview. And I would like to know, for the people that is anywhere, like in Europe, Latin America, Japan, anywhere, give us just a brief bio of Takara.
Okay.
When did you start?
When did we start? Well, I started in 1987.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. And brief biography. How can we do this? Well, we've got 6 albums. We're working on a new album. The albums have all been released in Japan and Europe and here in the States. And we've had some very exciting people come and go throughout the band, throughout the history, I should say. But I think we have a very exciting lineup and album in store. Mm-hmm. And we're looking towards a 2016 release for the next album, early 2016.
Okay. That was short.
Yeah.
No, not that short biography, but it was enough. Okay.
But I could go on. I mean, there's a lot of history. So like
you started here in LA, right?
Yeah, started here in LA.
Mm-hmm. And who played on the band?
The original band. The original lineup was, of course, as most people know, Jeff Scott Soto on vocals. Mm-hmm. A drummer named Bob Duda, yeah. And a bass player named Gary Shutt. Yes. And they played on the first album called Eternal Faith. And then a second album, we evolved a little bit. And we had Jeff's ex-girlfriend, Julie, play keyboards on it. And I added a permanent bass player by the name of Carl DeMarco. And that album did really well. That was one of their more successful albums, at least in the early days. And then we did a third album, Blind in Paradise, with Jeff and I, Bob and Carl, same lineup. Mm-hmm. And that album did pretty well. And then after that album, things changed, and we did an album called Perception Reality, and the lineup basically completely changed overnight. And basically it was just Carl DeMarco on bass and I. Brand new band. My friend Brooke Hansen on keyboards, a guy named Michael Flatter on vocals, and this guy named Chad Clark on drums. And that was about the time that I met Bjorn, shortly after that album was done. And we were plotting and scheming for a long time, and then we did Invitation. Mm-hmm.
With Patrick, yeah.
Yeah, with Patrick Johansson and Bjorn and Gus Monsanto.
Yeah. Big Swede producing. And Big Swede Stefan Svensson, yeah. And we had
my friend Brooke on keyboards.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
On vocals.
Gus on vocals, yes.
Mm-hmm. So we had the worldwide, people from all over the world playing.
Brazilians,
yeah.
Swedes, American guy.
We are chilling with Brazilians. Come on, I am Argentinian. No, I love Brazil.
Yeah.
It's my second place to live.
Yeah, they're nice people.
Yeah. So a little bit more about the I would like to know about the first show or the first shows you played with the Takara. How was that?
Fantastic. It was 2010. It was the first official really live show. We did a series of 3 here in LA.
Wasn't that I thought it was
recently, yeah, because the early albums that I did with Jeff did the albums and that was it. His participation was just the albums. Yeah. So for a long time it was very difficult. And then finally when we moved on and we got another singer and Jeff went in his way. And I want to always add this. I always like to add this. People say that Jeff left Takara. He was actually never in Takara, so he never could leave Takara. Okay. So just for people's own knowledge, he was never an official member, so therefore he could never quit the band. So he was
clarification by Neal Grusky.
Clarification, that's right. So when Jeff went his way, we got another singer and we did another album, but that didn't work out. And shortly after the album came out, we actually had an offer to do a tour of the UK. Then that fell apart because the lineup fell apart. And then I took a little time off, and then we did Invitation, and then unfortunately I wasn't able to do anything for that. But shortly thereafter, I put together a new lineup, and we did a few shows. Yeah,
but still, I mean, in the last album, he played some songs, right?
He sang some background vocals, yeah. I had him sing a few background vocals.
Because I have another question for you, but I'm going to tell you now. What is the status between you, Duda, DeMarco, and Jeff?
Oh, it's fine. They're great guys. It's just we're not going for nostalgia here. So we're moving ahead musically, you know, and you know, those guys are all in different projects, and you know, so for us, you know, for what I'm doing, for what the songs I'm currently working on, the people that I'm currently working with are, you know, more suitable for where we're going. Those guys, all great musicians, but just we're not all going in the same direction, you know.
Well, let's talk about the new album. We can talk about the Invitation to Forever, or we can talk about the new one. Let's talk about the last one. I mean, the one that could be like the newest so far, right?
Invitation, right? That would be the last one.
Tell me about the sound of that album compared to the other ones.
It was much heavier, much more driving, much more contemporary than the other ones. The other ones had a lot of the 80s element, which I was slowly moving away from once I did Perception. Perception Reality, I think, was the first album that I slowly, consciously was moving away. Invitation was moving a little further away. It still contains some of the elements from the early albums, but you know, now I'm you know, with the new album moving ahead in our topic here. I'm moving to more of a contemporary sound and not you know, not the older sound, contemporary, but yet the songs. You know, we're still talking about the songs, and
he's opening the door for new possibilities of new sounds and.
So what is Bjorn? What is your participation in the new album?
That's a great question. I'm gonna play bass, and I guess we'll have to see. You know, it's up to Neal if he, you know. Sometimes he wants my input with writing and things like that too, but we'll just have to see as we move along.
Yeah, because you're also very talented.
I like his input, actually. Yeah. Just to answer his question, I do expect your input.
All right, there we go.
We can answer it right here easily. Yes, yes, and yes.
We can make it a deal now, okay?
Okay. We make the deal on video. We're making the deal right now, and I'm documented. I'm documented. I'm signed in blood here.
I gotta ask you something. I heard that Patrick Johansson is gay. I don't know. I'm joking. Patrick, if you're watching this, I love you, man. The first
official now, man.
The word is
you
out.
are no longer in the closet. It's time to get out.
Is it Malmsteen?
I don't know. It's like Batman and Robin. I don't know. You know, they spend a lot of time together.
You know, like who knows with people? I'm not in the bedroom when they're doing things, so how would I know? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was. I told you beside the camera that I was the first musician that I met here in LA when I came in 2001. Patrick, yeah, great guy. Anyway,
on a skateboard, eating ice cream.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. So, tell me about the new album. How many songs do you have already?
I have about 6 already, and probably another 6 that I'm trying to finish up. What else can I tell you?
Do you have the name already?
Yeah. Yep, I do.
Okay, tell us.
Yep.
You're on camera. So
I'm on camera. Here I am.
Don't change it later.
It's called Wicked and Beautiful.
Okay. Why the name?
Because I don't know. It just sounded good, and
it's going to be wicked and beautiful when it's done. I think that's the goal, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. Because I wanted a heavier sound. I wanted the song to still sound beautiful, but I wanted it to have an edge to it.
Who's going to be the lineup besides Bjorn and Patrick? You and who else?
John Cheminsky on drums. Brooke Hansen on keyboards, and Jamie Kelly, who did the live shows with us, on vocals.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Any plans besides the album? To play live?
Definitely. Japan, Europe, here in the States, yeah, definitely.
What about your music influences?
My music influences. When I was younger or now?
You can talk about everything.
Well, when I was younger, I'll start from the past. When I was younger, it was a lot of the traditional things that most people would enjoy. I loved old 70s hard rock, UFO, and the Scorpions, and then the 80s came along and was Dokken, and oh man, so many great bands. I could
Malmsteen.
So many bands.
I think when we we experienced the same era, like the 80s. There were so many, as we know, so many great bands. So people ask me the same question.
It's overwhelming.
There was Priest, there was Maiden, there was Whitesnake, there was Rainbow. I mean, there was the list goes on and on and on and on. So for me as well, there's a lot of influences, like all the different ones.
Just the name.
Maiden was one of the first ones. Priest, Dio.
Black Sabbath with Dio.
Yeah.
Those are some great albums,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dio was a great guy.
Oh, great
singer.
Met him, right? Oh, yeah, I have actually met him. I actually met him a couple times.
Was that?
He was unbelievable. So nice and so friendly. Unbelievable. I'll never forget it. I was very young, and I was crossing the street in front of the Whiskey, and he was crossing, and I said, "Oh, my God." And I found a piece of paper, I don't know where, and a pen. Maybe he had it, and I got him to sign an autograph, and he was so cool. It was... Yeah, I was like 20 years old, and I don't know, just one of those things, very strange.
What are your experience with Dio?
Well, I met him. He was very nice. I think he was very nice to everybody. Yeah. Nobody had anything. No. Because a lot of people get bothered all the time with autographs and fans, and he was just incredible that way with his attitude. Would sign autographs forever after the shows and be really nice to people and patient, and
Yeah.
So
taking time with him.
Yes, people loved him for that, and we'll always remember him for that.
Yeah, so. I asked him once. I mean, the last time that I saw him live, that I asked him how can you do it? I mean, he's spending valuable time with the fans. He doesn't care about just I'm on clock. Yeah. Well, Eric should be here, but he's not.
No, he can't. He's family obligations. Yeah, so unfortunately.
How was involved in this with you?
He'll probably do a song on this album. I might have him do one song. Yeah, he's been very involved in trying to help out and be a part of this. So I told him if he'd like to do something, we'd be kind of nice to have him play something. I think his style's a little different. He's moved into a different direction from where I'm going, but I think that we share a lot of similar influences and ideas, so I think it'll be fun to have him. But I think overall, I mean, the band and my idea and the singer, we're moving into a more contemporary, modern approach because that's what we like, that's what we enjoy. I mean, I listen to some of the heavier bands that are symphonic.
Like who?
Well, I like Within Temptation and Camelot and...
more power.
Yeah, more power, and I'm sure Bjorn shares that with me. He has his own visions of where he has his roots and where he's come, where he's going, and what he likes and what he enjoys.
Okay.
Yeah, he can tell you.
Well, I think for everyone. I think that new music, of course, inspires you, but more than influences people. I think for me, it opens my eyes. New bands help me to open my eyes for new ideas and being open-minded and
very
it's inspirational. And even if there's no influence at all, it's inspiration just to see how somebody that has something new is out there doing something. Just that part of it to me is inspiring, and no matter what the style is.
Yeah, and very fresh.
Yeah. And I think now it's great that there's so many different styles of music, and bands from all over the world are touring in every direction. It's not so much like, well, if you play like this, you can only be big in this part of the world, and if you play this style of music, you have to come from this country. Now it doesn't matter anymore, and I love
definitely that things are opened up far more than they ever have. But the internet has just changed the everything so much. But there still is territorial though, because there's certain bands that can tour extensively throughout this country here in the States, and certain bands that really can't yet, and the same thing with Europe. You're not going to see certain bands as popular, but I think slowly they're crossing the lines and it's opening up, and you're seeing more of it. Yeah.
Well, I hope so, because there's so many bands. We are in LA, and there's so many bands that I can't see because they are not coming here. And
a lot of bands don't tour here.
No.
Yeah, they skip LA. Yeah. You see that a lot, yeah.
Well, and a lot of them skip the United States too, because they make their money in Europe and South America and Asia, even
Japan, yeah.
And to me, the sad part about the United States it's always been different than the rest of the world. Whenever there's severe trends, they hit the United States the hardest, and Americans follow the trends. The rest of the world like what they like. And it's just kind of funny because I moved to Los Angeles in 1993 when the grunge wave hit. It never really hit as big in the rest of the world as it did. Not half as big. Although it was big in the rest of the world.
Yeah,
but here it just wiped everything. It was funny because like I'm thinking like, wow, so it was so fake because it's all of a sudden like people, okay, you're not going to be yourself now because something's not in or you know, it was just weird. It was just really bizarre.
Yeah. It really did take over here. And definitely it didn't in Japan. I remember in the time in the 90s when we first started releasing albums in Japan, in Europe, the magazines were still featuring what was going on as far as the hard rock thing, the 80s hard rock, and then what spilled over from there in the 80s hard rock, and they still weren't really even talking about or focusing at all on the grunge thing. So they kind of skipped it, like you said. They really skipped it. And
back in South America, it was big because Nirvana, all these bands, but it was like it lasted about, I don't know, 5 years when hard rock and metal is still, you know, something that people really go massively, right?
Yeah, it didn't wipe out the other things. It was just, it came along, it came in, and it was kind of big for a while, but it didn't wipe the other things. No. But in the United States, it wiped everything. And if you weren't Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, you were done. Yeah. And you could have...
Even those bands suffered a little bit from it. A little bit, yeah. It wasn't the same. But they didn't get wiped out, though. They still had a little bit of a foothold because the people who enjoyed them.
Actually, you play hard rock or melodic rock in the 90s when the grunge was...
That's right.
Was tough.
It was very tough then.
Yeah. You're a warrior.
I was a warrior. But we survived off Japan and Europe. That's what kept our career going. Had it not been for the labels in Japan and Europe, it would have not happened. It saved it. It saved everything. Those markets saved the music, actually. I think it kept it around long enough for it to come full circle. And it did. You know, I kept saying throughout the 90s, it's going to come back. We don't know when, but it will come back. You know, I felt it. But it was just a matter of when it was going to come back, you know? That was the matter.
I saw a lot of musicians in the 90s and after that were following trends, and they're still nowhere. And great musicians, great writers, but they're always like trying to ride the coattail of what's hip, you know? And it was kind of sad, you know? I think you just got to stick to who you are and just do what you do. And if you're good enough, there's always going to be an audience, you know?
Well, guys, thank you very much for the interview. Well, as soon as we have news about the new album, just let me know, okay? And I'll tell the guys.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
De nada.